She is looking glowy. She... It is late in the afternoon and we are going to be doing a reading wrap up for April. April was a busy month. I've been traveling a lot. I am traveling again on Monday. When you're seeing this video, I'm probably gone. So if you're wondering, where's your TBR jar video? Hear me out. I think I am going to mood read a little bit during May and June, simply because I have 3 trips planned in 1.5 months, and I'm still gonna be reading, and I'm still gonna be doing my reading wrap-ups. But I think on this channel, since this is reading and travel vlogs, there might be, I think as you're seeing this video, I probably haven't gotten my other travel vlog up yet, so there are probably gonna be a little bit more of those, and I'll do the reading wrap-ups. And then when I am back from, because I'm going to Greece for 2 weeks, when I'm back from that, I'll do a TBR jar and I'll update that with some new prompts as well. And we'll do that for the summer. I did do the reading prompts for last month and I picked 5 different books. And then I had 5 books that was like anticipated releases that I wanted to read. And for the first time ever, I actually didn't read all the books that I picked from my TBR jar. So, and I will talk more about that as well. Let me pull up the statistics so that we can talk about, because I love pulling up a little bit of statistics, talking about like how many books did I read, what kind of rating did I give them, how many pages did I leave, and of course then I'll go through all of the books, and these are spoiler-free reviews. I will not be giving away anything, because if I love the book, of course I want you to read the book, and if I'm spoiling the book for you, so all of my videos about books here on my channel are spoiler-free reviews and just thoughts about the books. You never have to worry about me spoiling the books for you unless I do let you know. But so far I have not uploaded a video like that. I will link all the videos in my description box in case you're interested in checking any of them out. These are affiliated links, and if you do shop through my links, I do earn a small commission. And if you do, thank you so much. This look, I filmed it for my main channel. My full-time job is that I am a beauty YouTuber, so that tutorial will be live on my main channel real soon. And if you haven't checked that channel out, it is linked down below. So let's pull out the stats. First of all, before I pull out the stats, last month I said, oh, I read 10 books, and then I changed it to 9 books. You know what? It actually was 10 books. I just forgot that one of them was on my Kindle, and I didn't have a copy of it, and I forgot to talk about it. So when we get into the reviews, I'm gonna start with the book that was actually one of the books for March, and I'm going to start with that one. So I actually did read 10 books in March, and I did read 9 books in April, and I read 3,664 pages, which is a lot less than last month, but I also feel like I've been fighting for my life this month, so I feel like that's doing pretty good. My average rating was 3.9, which I feel is a pretty good rating. I did have an amazing reading month last month, but I did end this month on a really good note. So I read 7 books on my TBR, but I had 10 books on my TBR. So reading 7 of those 10s, I think it's really good still. And I actually ended the month with reading 2 books that was recommended to me by my friend that was not on my TBR. And I'll end my review with those as well, because she gave me a really, really good suggestion. And I want to recommend that to you if you are looking for a new romantasy book series and you feel like you don't want to read any of the overhyped ones, or you maybe have read a lot and you want to find something new. I have something new to recommend to you. So the different ratings that I gave is that I gave 2 books 5-star. I gave 4 books 4-star. I gave 3 books 3-star. And then I actually did not read a single 2-star or 1-star book this month. So I had overall a really good reading month. And for me, my ratings are 3-star. That's a decent book. That's an okay book. I liked it. I didn't hate it. But there was a couple of things with the book that made me go, meh. It's like, it's good, but parts of it is meh. That's how I feel like a 3-star is. For me, a 3-star is not a bad book. 2-star, that's when I'm like, you shouldn't read this book. 3-star, I still think it had some entertaining qualities, but I think there were some flaws with it. A 4-star for me is a great book. That is a great book, but it lacks either that 5-star feeling, or there were some things where I'm like, oh, you really should have explored this more. Or there was something about a character where I'm like, if only, like, we're talking about minute details. 5-star is me just liking the characters, liking the book, feeling all the feels. That's for me a 5-star read. And when it comes to the genres, I read 5 fantasy books this month. For me, fantasy is my favorite genre. That's how honestly I started reading. When I started reading like non-kids books, Bilbo was one of my first books I ever read. So for me, reading 5 fantasy books, it's pretty on brand for me. I read 2 contemporary romances. I read my first ever mafia romance, which I still feel I feel some type of way about that. And then I read 1 dystopian young adult, and I think we can all guess which book that was. But should we start with that? Should we start with the dystopian young adult? No, let's start with the 10th book from March that I forgot about, which is actually the 4th book in the Zodiac Academy, which is the Shadow Princess. I read this one on Kindle. I downloaded it when I was traveling back from Italy last month, and I feel like I hated the first Zodiac Academy book. I really despised it. I gave it a 1 star. I thought it was absolute trash. And I think that I would like this series. I gave this one a 3 star, if I'm not totally mistaken. And I feel like I would like this series more if it hadn't started out so weak. There was just so many things in that book where I'm like, it's really hard to explain it, and so far I don't feel like the author, quite honestly, has succeeded with that. If you don't know what the Zodiac Academy is about, it is a book series that quite literally I think have like 20 books in it, but like the main series I think has like 9 or 7 books or something, and it's one of those series that I've been reading in between because they're almost like trash TV. It's almost like the Love is Blind of your Netflix things. Like it's the thing you watch in between. You know it's trash TV, but it's entertaining, and in the moment that is what you need. I gave this a 3 star. There's a lot of problems with these books, but I still think that the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th book have been entertaining enough for me to read a new book in the series every now and then. They are available on Kindle Unlimited, and that's how I read mine. This whole series is about 2, I think they're like late teenagers. They are 2 twin sisters living in the modern world, and all of a sudden one day a guy shows up and just says, guess what, you're like Fae royalty actually, and you should come to the Fae kingdom and attend the Zodiac Academy, and once you graduate from the Zodiac Academy you will be able to access your inheritance. This is something that's very tempting for the twins because they are living in absolute poverty and not doing the best in the real world, and they're like, what do we have to lose? Quite honestly, let's take a leap of faith. And it turns out to be an incredible bully situation, and like I said, I think book 1 is rougher than it needed to be. And it's not even like bully, like there's some actual crimes going on. And I don't think, and that's my biggest critique for book 1, I don't think the authors truly fully thought about how to have, I don't think there's a redemption arc to be had from what happened in book 1. Let me just put it like that. I will say, book 4, there's a lot of people who don't like one specific thing that happens in book 4. And when I say that, and if you have read book 4, you probably know what I'm talking about. That is actually my biggest redeeming quality in this book so far. When one of the twins says something to a guy where for the first time in this book, I'm like, yes, you grew a spine and you literally told him, you've been treating me like shit. You had all the opportunities in the world to be nice to me, and the only reason that you're trying to make this happen right now is because you need me. You need me right now, and you can't say that you've been trying your best because you haven't. And I thought that was one of the more realistic dialogues / monologues in this entire series, where she's like, no, you can't just come now and be like, I need you, we should try. No, she's like, I'd rather be alone. And honestly, kudos. I liked it. I like that part. Like I said, I gave this a 3 star. This is one of those, if you read very fast, and if you go through books maybe at the rate that I'm going through, maybe give this series a chance, maybe skim through the first book, because honestly, I didn't like it. If you read slow, if you read 10 books a year, I wouldn't give this series a chance, because there are so many better books out there. I said what I said. Okay, let's go into Suzanne Collins and, I'm trying to not, Sunrise on the Reaping. This is Hamish Abernathy's story. It's basically the story his reaping before the Hunger Games start. I love the Hunger Games series because Susan Collins has a way of describing war, propaganda, and what I really liked about the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, I think that's what it's called, is how she describes an origin story that is tethering on this, like, yes, we can blame the environment, but at the end of the day, President Snow was always a bit of a douchebag. He was always an egoistic person, an opportunist that always was cherry picking situations and seeing situations in a light that benefited him personally. And I like that origin story because it shows that, yes, we can always be like, this is the environment that we were brought in. And environments do create us, but also he made some personal choices himself and he has to take responsibility for that. And I like the origin story because of that. I think the book is amazing. I gave this, and don't come for me, I can see you already leaning over your keyboards. I gave this a 4-star because I think for the first time, Susan Collins is a little bit on the nose. She has always been very anti-propaganda, and let's be honest, we're all, and this is what this book is about. This book is showing us we are all people who could fall for propaganda, and that's what she's showing in this book. Because what she's showing in this book is how we, the readers, and Katniss, we all fell for the propaganda. We all fell for it because we all believed in Haymitch origin story, but this book is showing that what we actually fell for is the propaganda of it all. And at the end, whoever holds the power to for the media, whoever holds the power for communication can show whatever they want to. And I think this is something to keep in mind in today's society as well. Because propaganda is happening all around us. And just because you are seeing something that seems believable, I need us all to have some critical thinking. Because there is a lot of things going on. And it's so obvious the reason why this one is so on the nose compared to the Hunger Games that was a little bit more subtle, and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes as well, a little bit more subtle. This one is very on the nose because I also think that Susan Collins, like, she's had it. She's like, I try to be subtle, but you're not getting it. This is a book about how we all are susceptible, is that how you say, against like propaganda. We will all fall for it. Because that's the thing. You won't know unless you are thinking about all the different ways that this information could benefit someone and how this information could be cherry-picked. And I do like this book for that. If you haven't read The Hunger Games, I do think that this book is one of those books. If you have seen the movies, you could still read the book and get the gist of the story. If you have not read the books and if not seen the movies, I don't think this book is for you. I think this book it's definitely part 5. Because again, all of us, me included, went into this book thinking, well, I already know about Haymitch. I already know about this game. I know all about it. But this book showed us all. We are all victims of propaganda. And sometimes we don't know until someone pulls off the curtain and we go, oh. Well, there you go. I really did like this book. Again, I gave it a 4-star because I think it's a little bit on the nose. But again, I do understand why it is a little bit on the nose. I also am a person who cries a lot. And listen, I know, again, don't come for me. I didn't cry to this book because I felt like it was almost trying to... I felt like it was like, again, a little bit too on the nose. Some of the things where I understood, like, this is where you expect me to cry, but I'm not getting it. And maybe it's because it was too on the nose. I don't know what that says about me. Maybe I'm like a cold person, but it is what it is. Another book that I read was Lyla Sage, Wild and Wrangled. This is the 4th and last book in is it Blue Rebel? It's Rebel Blue Ranch. That's what it is. This is a cowboy romance. Yeehaw. I love these books, even though I've only given one of these books a 5-star, which was the one with Teddy, because I felt like that one was so, for me, relatable, and I just really loved their story, and I felt like it all was very believable, and I felt the feelings were believable. This one is like childhood sweethearts that you could tell something has happened between them. It is Dusty, it is Cam. She gets literally left at the altar, and her childhood sweetheart, they've been something between them. Something has happened, nobody knows. And this is a book of them finding their way back to each other. A lot of this book is told in like past tense, and now like present, which I honestly didn't bother me at all. This book I did cry at because I did feel like there were some things that were very sentimental. The reason why I gave this one a 4-star is because this is the last book in the series, and I did not feel like we got the ending with her parents and upbringing that this situation deserved. I needed 20 more pages here with her and her family, because it didn't feel solved, and I didn't like that. I felt like this is a great ending at the series, but like you built up this entire book of her having a very troubled relationship with her family, and then I didn't feel like it was resolved enough. Not that it wasn't resolved, I just felt like I wanted more. I wanted to hear more about that, and I've quite literally have not heard another single person say that, so that could have been only me, but that's the reason why I gave this a 4-star. Maybe that's me. Maybe that's me having a troubled relationship with parts of my family, and I needed to know more. Let's do the other contemporary romance that I read, and this is Wild Side. This is Elsie Silver's. I think this is this the 3rd book? It's Wild Love, Wild Eyes, Wild Side, I think. I think there's a 4th one coming as well, which it's like I don't know how they're going to solve this. I might be incorrect, but I think it's like a dad and his son's ex-girlfriend, which I'm like, the what now? The what now? So this is a contemporary romance with the owner of the diner in this town. What is this actually? The Rose Hill series. This is not cowboy romance. This is just small town contemporary romance. And her sister passes away in an overdose and leaves the guardianship of her son to her landlord, who is this really broody guy living not even in Canada. This takes place in Canada, and this all ends up being a kind of a marriage of convenience. I like this one, but I gave it a 4-star because I felt like there were... You know what I really liked about this one is that it wasn't so heavy on the kids. I've heard some people say like, oh, I wish it was more, but like, I don't have kids. I don't want kids. I don't want to read about kids. I quite honestly thought it was refreshing that the kid was not present all the time, but that's me. I'm a grumpy, like non-kid auntie. So for me, that's lovely. But I felt like, not that I couldn't see them falling in love. There was just something in the people missing. There was something that was almost too convenient in some places, and I don't know. I liked the other one way more. The Wild Eyes. I swear that book like changed my brain chemistry. This one was good. It was a 4-star. I really liked it, but it didn't give me that 5-star feel. Maybe that's how I should say. Should we talk about my first ever like mafia romance? I don't know why I didn't understand that Hooked was a mafia romance, but boy was I surprised like 2 chapters in where I'm like, wait, what are we doing? Who's dying? So this is Emily McIntyre's Hooked, which is a retelling of Peter Pan where Hook gets the girl, and this is kind of dark, okay? There is like torture, there is murder, there is some really weird stuff going on, there's kidnapping. I gave this a 3-star because I was entertained, but I was also shocked. I was like, I thought it was entertaining, but I also thought it was unreasonable, and I also again, maybe I'm a grandma, okay? Maybe I just like happy endings. I don't know if I like that the good person becomes a bad person to fit with the other bad person. I don't know if that's the journey I'm on, but I also think that that's probably part of mafia romance. I already do have the second one, which is Scar, which is I think a Lion King retelling. I'm gonna read that one too and see if, because I've heard that that one is even better than this one. So I'm gonna read that one. I'm gonna see if I like it, and if I don't like it, maybe mafia romance is not for me. Maybe I'm just too much of a good girl. Or I've just dated too many douchebags and I just don't need to read about them, okay? I've seen some shit. See it. She has been places, she has seen stuff, and she knows. This is not what happened in this real life, okay? Not very realistic. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how dark it is out right now. It's like Mordor out there. It is gonna be a storm. Okay. Let's talk about the 5 fantasy books that I read. So I did read, and this was on my TBR. This is the book 2 in, I think it is Blood and Salt series by Alexis Calder. This is Court of Vice and Death, and I gave this one a 4-star. This is like romance, fantasy, it is dragon shifters, it is fae, it is humans, it is vampires, it is shapeshifters, it is all of that, but also set somehow in a kind of a mythological Greece. I'm just saying, it's very entertaining. This is about the second book, I can't tell you much about that because I'm gonna give away the entirety of the series, but I really did enjoy it, and I think it ended in a way where I'm like, oh, I want to read part 3 very badly. The series is about a bastard sister to 3 princesses. She is born out of wedlock. Her father, the king, had a daughter with someone. The mother is unknown. He brings her back to court. Her stepmother, the actual queen to the 3 daughters, one of them is in line for the throne, hates her. And this is her trying to maneuver court and just honestly tries to get away from there. She wants to go to serve at the wall because they're in war with the dragon shifters up north, and down south there is the island of Konos where the Fae lives, and the Fae king has almost like a treaty with the human city where she is living, the main character, and they get to come, I don't know how, every 7 years or something, and get humans and take them back to Konos for nobody knows. They're basically they call them sacrifices, the Fae calls them tributes. It's just unknown what happens to them, and this book takes place during one of those rites where the Fae comes to the human kingdom to collect their tributes, and it's a very interesting story about realizing that the things that you've been told might not be entirely true, and that theme continues in book 2 like nobody's business. And this one has it's very plot heavy. There is romance going on, but this is plot first, romance in the back seat, which is how I like to read fantasy. I gave this a 4-star. I still enjoyed the series very much. I'm definitely going to continue it. The other book that I read, and this was on the prompt, read a book that got bad reviews from others, and my friend Ali Dawson gave this one a 1-star. This is The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Moss, and you know what, I gave this one a 3-star. I think technically the plot of this book is pretty good. This is basically Greek mythology taking place in the future. This is dystopian, but still Greek mythology. And I really like what the author said in the beginning of this book, which is that back in the days, the gods of Olympia was ruling the world, and then a lot of things happened, and they went back into hiding, and humans got a lot of the mythology wrong, but they couldn't be asked to come in and just correct them. So they were like, listen, you believe what you want to believe, we don't want to deal with you anymore, and they went back. And then stuff happened, and they had to come back from the shadows. So a lot of things in this book is not true to Greek mythology, but I like the way that the author described it in the beginning, where she was like, humanity just got a lot of things mixed up, like with time, and the gods just couldn't be bothered to like basically correct any of them. What I will say, this book has plot twists that are so thinly veiled that I could figure them out with a blindfold. That is one thing where I'm like, so the plot twist is not very twisty. It's straight. There is a plot, just Autobahn, straight into whatever plot's going on. So you won't really be, and if you're surprised at the end, I don't know, maybe you're in the coma, but there is not much twists going on. I still thought this was entertaining in the same way that I think this is a little bit Zodiac Academy. It's a girl basically in the future. The world is in a dystopian hell, and she has a blood test, and it reveals that she is a Spartan. Basically, she is part of the gods, and nobody knows how or why. Nobody knows who she is or what she is, but she's been abandoned, and she's thrown into this war academy with other Spartans, and it's just giving a little bit of Zodiac Academy, but not as bad as Zodiac Academy. Like I said, I gave this one a 3-star. I think for me, the biggest problem with this one is that the language is giving young adult. The violence and smut is not. So it's almost like a little juvenile in the way that it's almost like a 14-year-old, like just imagining themselves as an adult. So it's almost like, 13 going as 30. It is a bit weird in that. And I think the language is too juvenile for the story. And that's the main reason why I gave this a 3-star. I don't mind the story. I don't mind the characters. I mind the language. It's too juvenile for a story like this. But I still think it's an interesting way of retelling Greek mythology. This is a duology. Second book is coming this year. I think it's something Bond. Is it Bond? Something other with Hercules that has a black cover. You can pre-order it already. I will probably read the second book as well because, again, I was intrigued enough to read the second book and I kind of want to see where this is going. This is kind of a wide choose as well, which is why I definitely don't think it's young adult. But again, it's kind of written like that. So there was some confusion going on, but I liked it enough to read the second book. I mean, it's only a duology. And then I read, and I think this is, I don't want to say that this is a disappointment, but in a way it kind of is. And this is Enchantra, which is the second book after Phantasma that I really enjoyed. It was a strong 4-star. I thought it was so much fun. It was almost like a little spooky. It was like ghosts and spirits and devils and just games. And this is by Kaylie Smith. This one is following the sister, the one that gets hybris and goes into Phantasma. This is her getting hybris again and going into Enchantra. It is a similar vibe. It is like a hunt. There is a curse on a family. It takes place in Italy. It is, okay, I'm gonna be mean. It is Phantasma, but from Wish. The biggest reason why this one is a 3-star, the biggest reason why this is a 3-star and not a 2-star is that it's still entertaining. The biggest reason why this is a 3-star and not a 4-star is because I really don't like the female character. She is giving Nesta, but no character arc. She is giving Regina, but never a character arc. She is just kind of cocky, kind of annoying. She makes really stupid, the first blonde that dies in a horror movie kind of decisions throughout this book, where I literally had some times where I put down the book and just like looked into the ceiling and I was like, so I think me not liking the female main character is the main reason why this is a 3-star, and that is one of the reasons why I really like the main character, like her sister in the first book, and she's a character that needs a redemption arc, but quite honestly, I don't really feel like she gets one. Is that mean? Maybe a little bit. Okay, last 2 books that I read on my Kindle, and these were recommended to me by my friend Ellie Dawson. She was like, you need to read these. I really love these books. And it is the On Wings of Blood and The Bond That Burns, which is the Bloodwing Academy series. And the 3rd book is coming out later this year. I think this is the last book. And you know what? I gave both of the books 5 stars. I flew through these books. They are so entertaining in the same way that like Metal Slinger and Quicksilver and the second book of Akatar are just like you get sucked in, and it's so entertaining. And it is a woman who wakes up in a new world, and she is Fae, and she wakes up in the world of vampires, and she's just like, what happened? Where am I? Why am I here? What is going on? And the vampires are just like, it's a dragon rider. And she's the last dragon rider apparently, but she's like, oh, I don't even belong in this world. She can't tell anyone about her secret. The problem is that there's no dragons. And she's just all of a sudden being betrothed to this vampire prince who she really dislikes. And everybody's trying to control her because everybody wants to have the last dragon rider. And she gets sent to Bloodwing Academy, where everybody who's anybody has to attend. And this is giving Fourth Wing meets just the good parts of the Zodiac Academy series, which is just schools and rivalry and just bigger plots going on in the background. And it is incredibly entertaining. And I can't give away too much about the plot because I kind of want you to go in blind the way that I went in blind. I'm just telling you now, like, this literally, the things I told you now, it happens in the first like few chapters in the first book. And it is, I was so confused in the beginning, but it kind of eases up. It is world building, maybe the first 70-80 pages, and then you just fly through these books, and they are so entertaining, and I still think about them. And I finished the last book. Technically I finished the second book on May 1st, so technically I finished it on May 1st, but I read 85% on it in April, so I'm going to include it here because most of it I read in April. But these are very entertaining, and if you're looking for something that's plot first, but still a very heavy romance plot as well, that is not too heavy on the spice. There's a little spice, but it's not too much. And if you want to skip the spice, you definitely can. It is not spice heavy, but there are some in there. There is a pretty heavy romance plot, but it's not romance driven. It is plot driven. There is just rivalry, found family. There is so many intrigues and just secrets going on. And there are some plot twists where I'm like, oh, I could have guessed this. And then there are some where I'm like, oh, I had no idea. I definitely could not have guessed that. Why do I feel like my camera is set? I need to be hunching a little bit, but I really enjoyed this book, both of these books, and I highly recommend them. The first one is a little longer, I think it's 500 pages, and the second one is under 400, and I can't wait for the third one. Me and Ali said we are going to read them together so that we can have our thoughts on them together. But if you're looking for something new in this genre to read, definitely recommend these. Super entertaining, and I cannot wait to read part 3. I read them on Kindle Unlimited. They're also available on paperback. I will leave them down below. Definitely 2 thumbs up. If you're looking for something interesting to read, I definitely recommend them. And those were the books that I read in April. Let me know if you read something really amazing that you think I should read. I am gonna pack my Kindle full of fun books because like I said, I am traveling both to New York. I just came back from Florida. I'm traveling to New York, and then I'm home for 2 weeks, and then I'm going to Greece for 2 weeks. So that's why I'm going to be mood reading for a little bit. I don't want to dive in too much to my physical TBR because I am going to try and travel as light as possible, especially to Greece, because I only want to pack 1 bag even though I'm going for 2 weeks. But let me know if you have anything. Let me know what was like a suggestion for Kindle Unlimited. Something you read on Kindle Unlimited that you think I will really enjoy. Let me know. Anyways, I hope you're having a great time. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you real soon, probably in a new vlog.